What in tarnations is this? Woo! Alright, guys, check it out. We're gonna have some show and tell here real soon. But first, Wolvie, hit the music. Alright, so anyways, Benzine's joining me, and we got our, my weekly comic haul, because some people were irresponsible and don't pick up their comics in a timely fashion. So
some people, couldn't stop after work today.
I had time. So anyways, I picked up my comic haul for Wednesday, May 22nd. That's a deuce. 2019, and let's check it out. So we got, first of all, this is from last week because you forgot to give it to me, Daredevil #5. That's a cool cover, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Badass cover. Dude, this is actually getting, this run is getting good reviews. Like,
really?
Yeah, they actually, I saw the CBSI hot and cold list, and they said cold was Immortal Hulk, and Daredevil run is hot now.
Oh.
But I don't know if it's going to reach Immortal Hulk proportions, or definitely not Naomi proportions. But it's getting well received, so that's cool.
Honestly, you can never go wrong getting Daredevil.
Yeah, I always...
Yeah,
there's like 3 books that I've always, ever since I started collecting comics, always had on my pull list, and that's Daredevil, X-Men, and Amazing Spider-Man, and Batman. I guess that's 4. But yeah, so Daredevil's always got good stories. And then this week, the new issue of Venom #14 with this crazy cover.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw the black and white version. There's a black and white version, previous exclusive maybe. But I like the black and white version a lot. But we have a small local comic shop, so he doesn't get all these in.
Yeah, I do have to get that one.
So he got, apparently the shipper damaged a lot of the books whenever they came in. So he's supposed to get them on Friday. But I think he said My Justice League Dark, and I think there was one other one. They were just all beat to hell and back. And he's like, and he knows how picky I am too. And he's like, they were bad. And he goes, they weren't worth even accepting. He goes, and I know you.
Wow. Well,
I go, trust me, I understand.
Yeah,
I want nice ones, man.
Yeah.
I don't want, if I'm going to pay $4 for a friggin' issue, even when they were 75 cents, I want the nice one, man. That's what I'm paying for, a new comic, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much I'm paying for. Like, I mean, granted, some of them you find in the dollar bins are kind of, a little beat, but like when you're buying them like that, like, yeah, I don't want them.
You go buy a new car. You don't buy one with holes in the tires and somebody took a sledgehammer to the windshield, right?
Right. No.
So anyways, while he was there, I was bullshitting with him, and I dug in a dollar bin a little bit, and I found a couple dollar books that I somehow... He only has like $4 boxes, but somehow I missed these. This one's for you, George, if you're watching.
Oh,
I found that Wraith, and these are Christmas. Remember they're Christmas issues?
Yeah.
With the Wraith.
Oh my God.
So what the story is with this Wraith is, apparently they're by a guy, I think his name's Joe Hill. He's the son of Stephen King, and he wrote a book that's called Nos 4 Ratu. And then these are based on that, but then now there's going to be a TV show.
Oh, that is so cool.
And I know we've seen this one before.
Yes, I remember seeing that one.
There's another one, I think that's issue 4?
Cool. Oh,
5. But that issue 6 is kind of dinged up, but I grabbed it anyways.
Yeah,
And then they also had issue 7. Oh, and he's the writer-creator of Lock and Key as well. Okay. So there's issue 7. Those are all really cool covers.
I was going to say, I'm surprised he still had them there.
Right.
They're cool. They're really cool.
I know we've seen them in dollar bins a bunch of times, until George pointed them out. Yeah, because I remember the Christmas theme.
I remember the Christmas theme.
Then I just like the cover in this. It was in a dollar bin. It's an homage to the Todd McFarlane, was that 1993 or whatever it was, Spider-Man #1. So, but it's got Deadpool.
I love that. Oh my
peeking
God.
over the corner. And then just for my current Amazing Spider-Man run, I think I have 791 and up. Well, now I got 790 for $1, so that's owned. And then I found in the back issues while I was looking for more raves. The number 26. This one's beat to hell, dude. It's discolored.
Yeah,
but
so
this is the one this is one of the ones we kept seeing at the place in the city. But then somebody mentioned it, Comic Tom mentioned it on a list or something about them being first appearances, and now you can't find them anywhere. But this is the number 26. Sorry, these are all, dude, these aren't bagged and boarded because I'm out of boards. I keep running out. I keep buying 200 at a time.
You're buying just too many books.
I was thinking about
thinking
about contacting E. Gerber and just because I know they don't do orders on less than $100. So I was thinking about just buying like $100 and some worth right out the gate, and then just be.
That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. So, but that's it for this week's comic haul for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019. Thanks, Benzine, for joining me. And you're no spy dog, but I mean, you're here. That's all that matters, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's something. All right, check out the next segment because we're gonna have a shelf. I'm gonna show you how I built the new shelf. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's cool. Guys, your boy went shopping. Check it out. So what's gonna happen here is, as much as I like the way this wall looks, let's get a big view of this wall if we can. So I like the way this wall looks, okay? But the problem is I don't have anywhere to display my new comics. You guys know that in the past I built a shelf for in here, and I do put ones in here, but I think I want one for the videos and just to see instead of having to dig. But these are where I put my newer key issues or whatever I want to display. But let's take a look here. So what I'm going to do is build a shelf like that for over here. So I went and bought some wood. Your boy went shopping, and I got some glue here, some different liquid nails and stuff that is kind of floating around. I'll be using this stuff up. But what I'm going to do, and guys, this is fairly simple, is I'm going to make this will be a backing, and I'm going to assemble a shelf using this. This will be a spacer. This will create like a groove, and then I'll use this to be a ledge and make it look nice. But this video is going to be all about making this shelf and how easy it is to make a comic book display shelf. Now, the only thing is it does take a little time because you're going to have to do some measuring, glue drying, and cutting. I'm going to have to use a miter saw. And but other than that, guys, it's really simple. So you can see here, I'm going to use these for the backers. And you can see that actually when I do this, it'll go this way because it'll look a little nicer. So this will be the backing. Then I'll use one of these to create a little bit of a space, okay? And then I'll take this pine piece right here and drop it down. Hold on, let's see here, get it on there nice. I'll drop that down so you can see that there's a little bit of a, see there, creates a little bit of a gap. And then I'll take this piece here to make it look fancy and offset it just a little bit, so then it'll give it that extra layer. But if you can see, it'll create something like that, and then I can put CGCs, or I'm probably going to get some like the nice Mylar top loaders for in there, and that way I don't have to worry about it falling or whatever. And then if it does fall by chance, somebody knocks it out, it'll be protected. But alright guys, give me a minute and I'll get back to you and I'll show you how I'm doing the next step. Alright, so this is one of those pieces I said was going to be a spacer, man. So what I did is I got a trusty tape measure out, and I figured that 3/8 would be good enough to be peeking out of there to make that, you know, that little ledge. But what I did was I marked on here 3/8 on my trusty tape measure, and what I did was probably in about 5 or 6 spaces, depending on how big your work area is, go in and just put a little dot. See that little dot right there? To mark that wood. And then what you're going to do is take your straight edge, if you have one,
and then create that line. See that line? It goes the whole way down. So whenever I affix the next piece, I know it's going to be offset. I can line it up with that line. So see that line? So I can line it up with that line, and it'll be nice and even. And listen, when you make that mark, you don't want to, don't lay into it, just lightly do it. So I'll fix that, use that as the guideline, and that'll create that little ledge I want, okay? And I'll do that with both pieces. I'll glue it with some liquid nails, and then I'll wrap it and let it sit for like a day. Now guys, all this wood and spray paint and everything only cost me like, I think it was around 70 bucks to make this, and it'll look really nice. It'll be sweet when we're done, so you get an idea. But remember, I got a 114-inch wall here, so that's a big wall to make a shelf. Most people won't need to do all that. That's getting a little out of hand here, but you know how I am. It's all or nothing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and measure the next piece, and we'll be right back. So you can see what I did was I laid a bunch of rags out here, okay? And what I'm going to do is use that to wrap the wood after I get this adhered, and then I'm going to use these clamps I laid out to keep it in place and apply pressure so that the glue takes and holds it, you know, so it's solid. So it's a solid adhesive. So anyways, what I did was, and guys, be careful. The reason we're doing this with the rags and the clamps is so it doesn't mark up the wood, because you want to keep this as nice as possible and minimize your work. You don't want to have a bunch of slop and sanding and stuff. And you probably might have to still do some light sanding on some of this wood, but most of it is finished, and most of it, when I cut it, I'll cut like whatever issues I have with it out of it. But all right, so where I'm at now is I took some liquid nails, and guys, you might be able to get some faster drying stuff or whatever, but I'm just trying to use up what I have laying around the house. And but this worked before when I used it too. And I put dots, look, below that line, because remember, this line right here is what you're going to be able to see. So I put these dots up, right, every so far, and that way it'll be glued the whole way down, right? And then I took a cheap plastic butter knife from like a picnic set, and what I'm going to do is use this to carefully and not go above that line, just kind of get that. And then I might have to do this, put more glue on, I don't know. But what I'm going to do is get that on there real nice and smooth. Okay, so it isn't squirting out the sides or whatever. And then we'll fix the next piece of wood. It's almost ready. Okay, so I got that glue kind of leveled out. And, you know, you want to try to stay away from this line right here as much as possible. I mean, you want to get close, but you don't want to have it. You guys definitely don't want to be having to wipe that up out there. You might be able to see it a little bit, but it won't be real noticeable if you do get a little bit of glue or whatever. But you want to keep it nice, right? So now I got the glue ready, and all I got to do is take the next piece, which is going to be this, which is going to create that ledge. It's going to be that thicker piece of pine. And I'm going to go ahead and line it up and use that guideline to line it up. And then clamp it down. I forgot to mention, you might want to keep a rag around to clean up any excess glue or whatever. But check this out, guys. So what I did is I lined it up with that line. You can see it there. And I got these clamps on here, right? Now, you can see what I did was I wrapped that rag. I took a rag, put it on there, and just kind of wrapped it around. And especially with these kind, you don't want to crank them down too far, man. Just get it so it's real nice and snug. Now, I got this lined up pretty good with this side. I'm going to have to trim all these sides. Just because I want them to be nice and flush. And actually, I'm going to be doing them on an angle on that miter saw. But you can see that's lined up really good. And it lines up really good. But a common problem you'll see with wood is it will eventually bow. And that's what's happening down here. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this and get another piece. I have this not cranked, but it's tight. And I'll get another piece and crank that down on that. And by crank, I mean not lightly. And then it'll hold that in place. And then I'll take a couple of these clippy ones and put them in the center and just let it dry, man. And there you have it, guys. See, it's lined up with that line real good the whole way down. And check it out, guys. I got that on there kind of tight, and it lines up pretty good. And this overhang, like I said, I'm gonna trim it with a miter saw, so it's all good. But now I'm just gonna put a couple more pieces in the center, slide it back, and let it dry, probably overnight. And now I'm gonna go ahead and work on the next piece, because I'm gonna have to cut and make two. There's two of each, and so I'm gonna have to cut have one in the center is my plan. I think it'll look nice if I have one in the center and then 2 on the sides. And we'll see how that works out. So I'm gonna need 2 pieces. I got 2 8-foot pieces. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here, guys. So both pieces are finished, and if you look, the clamps should be spaced pretty evenly on these, and everything should be lined up with those with that line, that guideline I made. And I'm just gonna let this sit probably at least till this evening. And then what I'll do is I'll come in here and maybe just slide the clamps down a little bit because it'll be setting by then, and slide them to maybe like in between. That way that pressure's on there, and that way the pressure's applied. But if you got clamps, use them on this thing, man. Get it on there as clampy as you can, man. You want it on there tight. And all right. And then the next stage will be affixing this piece, the fancy piece, to that. And then I'll do some cutting. And then we'll fix to the other piece, and then the spray painting. I'm going to use spray paint. I know everybody likes to use finish on wood, but I prefer spray paint. It's easier, it's faster, it's going to look cool. And I got some cool bronze color for on here, and it should look badass on that wall. All right, guys. All right. So check it out, guys. I started this project at 11 a.m. and went and did some shopping. Actually got some grocery shopping and some comic shopping done. Got some cool stuff, and that'll be in a video here soon. But check this out, guys. I checked this out when I got home, and it wasn't super hardened dried, but it was dry enough where it was pretty solid. So I went ahead, and so that was at 11 I started. It's now 7 p.m. So I went ahead, and what I did was, you can see I took the clamps off, and this is the finished piece, so it's glued. You can see that's the back of it, but you can see how it creates that lip, right? So what I did was I went ahead and did the next step. So I created a groove, you can see there. So this is where, and I actually picked up some top loaders, whereas I was lucky the one place I went had top loaders. So what will happen is these top loaders with a comic in it, it'll sit inside that groove, see? And it'll lean back like that, and this will give it extra support, including, well, in addition to the board, but it'll be in there like that, and then the CGCs will fit in there too, okay? So that's what that groove's all about. But you can see I went ahead and got some clamps on there. Now, one of the things that sucks is I can't use these little guys anymore because it's just too wide. But, so I'm gonna have to curb my slow my row, but I'm gonna go ahead and do now what I was gonna do is like I did previously, where I did the guideline and then put the glue on and then attach it and follow the guideline with the wood with this piece right here. But as it turned out, that piece is exactly where I needed to get that lip, so it breaks even with that piece that I just put on, so I didn't have to worry about measuring or anything like that. I just made sure that I pushed it down and then clamped it. So I only got 1, 2, 3, 4 clamps. Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and start on the next one now. Like I said, keep these things out, keep these rags out for your hey guys, when you're doing this too, make sure you check out the wood. Like, that isn't a big deal right there. You might have to lightly sand or whatever, but when you're buying this wood, man, for sure, you wanna check it before you buy it, because some of this wood, man, it takes a beating, and you might not be able to use it. But then sometimes you can cut away the scrap. But you can see right here, look, if I lay this on there like that, it creates that lip. Can you see it? So, yeah. So that's what I'm going to do, is go ahead and work on that one next. And then we'll be able to touch the backings and cut and paint. Okay, so these are all dried up, and I just took the clamps off. And if you take a look here, let's see here. This is one solid piece now. You can see that groove is in there now. Let's take a look at that. So there's both pieces. They look great. No
messy glue or anything like that. Like I said, I was careful with that. Now check this out. I was gonna do guidelines on this wood. It's gonna be the backing, but I realized I wanted to raise it up a little bit. I was gonna go about 3/4 of an inch, but I realized I can go about 1/2 an inch. That way I can have extra support from underneath when I mount this to the wall, but also I can put nails in it and hang stuff from it, I was thinking. So what I'm gonna do is go right on that line. So if I take this piece, slide that on, and if I put that, if I line that up right there, see? And then that'll still give me that little step, and that's the way I can do what I just mentioned. But all right guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do these up, wrap these up, and then, you know, one of the other things I was thinking that too, at a later time I might take another piece of this, because these pieces, if you look at this groove, this fits in there like a puzzle piece, so I could actually make this higher, so it'll be like 2 pieces, so that would look actually really cool, I think. But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and work on this and get it clamped up, and then we'll take a look at it. All right. Let's check it out, guys. Look, check it. So this is the piece. I haven't taken the clamps off this one yet, but this should all be dried up. I did this. I got up about 6:30 this morning and put that last piece, glued that last piece on, and it's noon now, so that should be good. Everything, and you can see I took the clamps off of this one, so we can see that it's looking sweet. And the only thing I see wrong with this is there's one little, and you guys may not even be able to see this on the video, but there's one little indentation. See that right there? From where I must have clamped it a little too hard. Other than that, it looks great. So I'll just hit that with a real fine sandpaper, just barely get that cleaned up. And then this is gonna be my main piece. It'll be the center of that wall. And then that piece is the one I'm gonna cut, because it actually has a little bit of roughness right here, and I'll sand it and see if I can, what I can do with that. But what I'm going to do is cut that and cut the edges on an angle. Okay, so I'm going to cut them so they're on an angle like that, on a 45-degree angle, and then lay it down, and then get it figured out, get the measurements on that. Actually, I'll probably paint these both, mount this one, and then get the measurements and go from there. So that way it fits in that wall snug from side to side. And so like I said, we'll get a coat of paint on here, get the cut, get a coat of paint on there, and go from there. All right guys, check this out. I got those cuts made. Look at that. Nice 45-degree angle. You know what, now I look at it, I think maybe 45 might have been a little too extreme. Probably could have went with like a 30 or something, but oh well. But look how much I lost. So you can see how that's uneven. That was the original edge. So this fits in here like that. And you can see how much I lost. I lost about probably 4 inches or something like that, but it's all right. There's only gonna be 2 more cuts. But I got this out, cuts ready, and I hit the sand with the sand, really light sandpaper. That's 320 grit right here. And hit it where those marks were. And now I'm going to go ahead and start painting as I'm outside on my deck. See my lovely deck with all my freshly planted tomato plants. Oh, what a beautiful day. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and plant that stuff, or paint this. And what I'm using is, guys, don't use Krylon, use a different brand. I've had good luck with this Rust-Oleum, and you can see that this is the one with the primer, and this one's cost a little bit more, and this one just says hammered. They look like they're probably the same colors, it's just one has primer in it. So I'm gonna hit it with the primer, and then hit it with a coat of that, and the regular, and then alternate it. Now guys, I'm telling you, that Krylon, I've tried it before. I've used a whole can, and it's not done what one coat of the Rust-Oleum is done. So don't even bother with that Krylon cheap shit. You're gonna be tempted because it's cheaper, but don't do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray paint this in a well ventilated area, and we'll go from there, guys.
All right, y'all. So instead of standing around and watching paint dry, what I opted to do was get started on the wall and prep the wall for hanging the shelf. So what I did was I came over here and found about center, and I figured I wanted a CGC to be able to fit in there. So CGC is about 14 inches, and then there's a 2-inch height on my shelf, so it's gonna be a minimum of 16. So I figured a good inch or so. So I made it 17 inches, and that's where I found this line. So what I did was I measured down from here to here was 17 inches, okay, from here to here, and then I marked it, took a level, and I basically just drew a line the whole way across. Actually, I used a pencil on that because it was just kind of tough, but that should be a level line. Now that'll line up with the bottom of that shelf. Then what I did is I took a stud finder. Hey, oh yeah, see, it works. So anyways, took a stud finder. That's an old carpenter joke. And when you use these things, they're a little finicky, but you can see there's a stud right there. Stud right there. So what I did was I took a thumbtack, when I would find a stud, put it right there in the hole, okay? Then I would take, I don't know if you guys ever saw one of these, but this is a chalk line. Probably get for like $5 at Lowe's or something. Then I would put it on here. Oh. So anyways, I would affix it to that thumbtack, which didn't really work. But anyways, use that line, and then you snap it like that, and it leaves that blue mark, okay? So each one of these lines is a stud. So when I attach that, when I nail, screw mount, whatever, that's getting sounding a little weird. But anyways, when I mount the, shelf, so I know the bottom will go right where this line is, but every time I put in a nail or a screw, it's going to be on one of these blue lines, you see? So basically I have a grid to where I can mount it to. Okay? So, I think that's pretty much everything. Now I'm going to run into a problem here because I have that display right there, so I'm going to have to move that out. So I don't know when I'm going to get to that, maybe over the weekend. Probably this week sometime. But I'm going to definitely get this centerpiece and probably that right piece in right away. So, all right, we'll be right back with a painted shelf. Guys, so I put on 3 coats of paint and 2 coats of polyurethane, and this is that hammered bronze or whatever it's supposed to be. It's a really cool effect I got on there, but you can see it's looking pretty good. As far as I can tell, I got it all. So now all that's left is to pretty much mount this thing to the wall. And so I'll mount this one, and this one is the one I'll be cutting into pieces. All right. Okay, one-man army NERDCORE Dave here on day 3. Remember, day 1 it took to have the glue dry and everything. Day 2 I made the cuts and painted it, and as you can see, this thing's painted up. And originally I wasn't so sold on the color, but now I'm looking at it and I'm saying, now that the color's set after a day, I'm really digging it. You can see what I did is I have a makeshift shelf here. And basically what that's going to do is put it about the height, because I'm by myself, it's not going to be easy, the height with that horizontal line that I want to mount the bottom of the shelf to, right? So I got a level here, so once I get a nail in there, I'm going to put the level on there and mount it so it's nice and straight, which should line up with that horizontal line again. Now I have my air compressor ready to go, and I have a nail / staple gun going with some nails in it, so I'll use that to hang it. And then I'll probably, after I get the bottom of it mounted, I'll probably put 1 or 2 nails in, and then I'll use some screws. Now I'm going to use nails on this top part so it doesn't look ugly, but I might put screws in this bottom. I'm not sure yet. I might just use nails because it's kind of tight. We'll see how it goes. But I just want to get it kind of hanging first before I deal with it. So let's take a look at what we got here, guys. So you can see, let's do this. So you guys get a nice view of what's happening. What's crappening. Okay. That should work. All right. So I got my trusty nail gun ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and set this right on that line. And then you can see where these studs coming down vertically, right? All right, so what I'm going to do is try to find about, I'm going to have to put the nail into the top part, it looks like, because unfortunately the bottom part is too thin to mount to. So, well, for me to get my nail gun in. So, we'll get that lined up pretty good. Find about center and where that stud is. Push that in and boom. That should hold that there, okay? And then let's come down here. Now I'm not going to get real crazy with this because I want it to stay, but I don't want it, I want to be able to fit those other pieces in there too, right? So let's get this leveled out. Should be right about there. Right there. So that should be good. Now I got one there. So let's put one right about there. Oh, did it take? Yeah, it looks like it took. So that's two. Now, I think I'm just gonna leave those two like that because what I want is I'm gonna have to, see, you got two in. So I'm gonna need to get those cut and then slid down in, so I need to be able to get into this, and that way I can still nail these after they're done and secure. And then what I'll do is, you can see like this, mark this, so what I'll come do is come back, see that little mark, let's see here, I'll come back and I might fill that and then just barely, like, I'll cover this area up and just touch it up with spray paint. Shazam, he sure is excited about seeing that shelf down there. Alright, check it out, guys. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to measure from here to the end here. Now I'm only going to cut this angle right here, okay? Then this will just be sit flush. Actually, I might have to worry about that door, but we'll worry about that when we get there. But anyways, what I'm going to do is cut that and then paint the ends again. So that way when they fit in there, if there's no color break or whatever. So I'll paint it, give it another coat of paint, let it dry for, I don't know, half hour, and then go ahead and mount that as well. Shazam! Okay, so let's take a look. We got the two pieces cut, and you can see the angles are on different sides. So this will go on the right side, and this one will go on the left side. And then I kept this flat. I cut these straight so that it'll go up against the wall. It'll butt up against the wall flat. So those are that. Now I got out my trusty mallet in case I got to bump it a little bit. And what I did was I loosened up a couple of those nails. I just pulled on this real lightly just so I could fit the pieces inside there. And the same on this side. Now remember, I put two, and then I actually ended up putting another one in the bottom, in the middle. But I'll put more nails in once I get it completely affixed. But here's the other thing too. I was thinking, because when I stand back and I put a couple comic books on there just to look to see how it looked, it looks like it's too thin. So I am going to go ahead and in the next couple of days go get another piece of this, well, two pieces of this, and then cut them and put them on top because they interlock. So it'll be about yay high, and I think the comics will look a lot better on there by doing that. I might even get a third piece. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get this shelf together, make sure it's nice and level, and go from there. Alrighty, let's do that. Let's get that edge right in there. You can see this overhang here. And let's see how this fit. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, yeah. That's going to be nice. Now, there's only just a little baby gap right there, man. Hashtag baby gap. So, let's see. Man, it ain't perfect, but it'll work. Oh, you know what? Look at that. Oh, let's see. That should work right about there, guys. Again, it ain't perfect, but let's get it. Get, don't stop, hit it, get it. Get that so it's nice and level. Looks like it right there is level. Ah, shit. So, we'll get it in there as tight as we can. Right about there is probably as good as it's going to get, guys. Oh, man. Well, I'm no carpentry expert. I'm not a carpenter, but could be worse. Definitely could have been worse. That's probably going to be about it. So, let's get that nail gun and bang it right into the right there. Woo! Yeah, and that's it, guys. Let's check it out. Could be better, could be worse. Like I said, I'm not a professional carpenter here, but when I bump that, I can bump that in, and it isn't gonna be perfect, but hey, what do you want? And that's actually why I wanted that middle piece to be the main piece and then not connect them there, because I knew I wouldn't be able to get it perfect. But that's that for that one. I'll fill in this little divot right here, and then we'll worry about that piece over there. And I decided I am going to go get another piece for up here. All right, guys. We'll see the next step. Check this out, guys. So I was just goofing around trying to see if it would fit. I actually dropped that in there, and look at that. Perfect snuggle tight against the wall. And I know this isn't the best lighting or whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and see if you guys can, because I had to move that entertainment stand, and there's not a lot of room, and I know it's shitty lighting, but let's see here, man. Let's see. So we should be able to get this lined up. Yeah, see, this isn't a perfect cut by any means because there's a gap right here, but honestly, all things considered, we'll be all right. So we'll get that lined up as best we can, and push that in as much as possible. Let's get this, let's see this level. Get it leveled up nice. Probably right about there is level. And yeah, there's definitely a gap. This wasn't the world's best cut by any means. I probably should. Shit. Probably make that work right there. That'll work. So let's see here. Get it like as even as possible. And least amount of gap as possible. That's probably it. Take our trusty gun. Now, I just checked it with the, I know I don't have a line, but I checked it with the stud finder prior to taping and saw that there was one right there. And of course, every corner's always got one of those studs in there. And then let's double check this. Yeah, that's close, man. So I'll just put a third one in here for poo-poo and giggles. And that's it, guys. Check it out. So now I got me a comic shelf. I probably could do something about this gap, but you know what? Fuck it. You ain't gonna be able to see it anyways because of my habit. Someday maybe I'll go back and fix it if I ever move that entertainment center. But you can see it's a pretty significant gap. But it is what it is, man. And it'll work. Dude, you know what? I can put a comic right there and you won't even know. So that's it, guys. You know what? Check this out. And you can bump these back and kind of even it out with a mallet. That's good enough. There we go. There's a comic shelf, guys. Look at that. Boom. Oh, sad John. All right, check it out. I just got a barely dampened rag here, and I'm just going to use that to wipe off. Look at that. Takes that chalk marks right off there. Boom. So that's all you got to do to clean that up, and this clearly needs repainted. But that's good for now. You know what? Maybe I should leave it. You know what? I'll leave them on the bottom. And that way, when I add the new pieces, which really shouldn't matter anyways, I know where those lines are. But for now, we'll get rid of most of them. And there. That's all it takes to wipe those off, guys. Now, the only issue I have, guys, is check this out. Aside from this door handle, see that door handle? Where that hits, right there, I'm gonna have to leave a space because I don't want to ding up my comics. So what I'm gonna do is basically, I'm gonna get a piece of something and put it in there and make a spacer, maybe a piece of rubber or something like that, glue it to that so I don't have to worry about it. But other than that, guys, check it out, man. Boom. Instant comic shelf. Just add NERDCORE Dave. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little how-to. It was fun to make, actually. It was a cool little project. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get that backing for that probably this weekend and work on that too. But now you guys know how to build a comic shelf, so no excuses. All right. Let's take a look at it from way back here. Yeah, that's cool. So you know that's where we do all our filming too. So we'll have a rotating selection of comics for the background, and that'll be sweet for the videos, guys. Plus, I just like to walk in the room and look at my shit, you know? All right, guys. Well, that's it for this one. NERDCORE out.
the power to gather all of my favorite MCs with the illest comic book characters, and they became arch enemies. Inconceivable, unbelievable, yet as wild as it seems. The Emperor and Stan Lee would coach the two opposing teams. Keep it clean, no backs.